So the United States is really in the midst of its second civil war. It's not a civil war like the one last time where it was region against region. This one is actually neighbor against neighbor, families ripped apart. It is a battle between truth and reality versus propaganda and what you're willing to believe. Hello, my name is Brian Kennedy. I'm the mayor of Glendale, Wisconsin, president of Democratic Municipal Officials, and a member of the Democratic National Committee. Follow me for local government and Democratic Party content. I've been a lifelong reader, and I remember in middle school reading George Orwell's 1984, and there's a very crucial line from that really defines what's going on in our society right now. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. And that's what we're seeing come out of the Trump administration. When President Trump speaks, J.D. Vance, Kristi Noem, Caroline Leavitt, Stephen Miller, it doesn't matter what they say. We know that they are creating propaganda. They do not tell the truth. And this week, the incident in Minneapolis is a perfect example of what we are seeing happen when something happens in real life and there's all kinds of eyewitnesses and there's video footage of it. And then we hear them give their official line of the government, and it is always a lie. So let's talk about that Minnesota incident first of all. I've seen at least 5 different angles of eyewitness footage, including the one that Vice President J.D. Vance released, where he said it clearly indicates that this woman hit the ICE officer with her car. Thing is, the last thing that she said to him was, "That's fine, dude. I'm not trying to make you angry." And then she tried to pull away. And so this is a situation where if you've looked at all the video, you can see that there's nothing about her demeanor that indicates any kind of malice, and certainly not domestic terrorism. And yet, what do we hear from the White House? That she tried to run him over with the car. He was defending himself. It was an act of self-defense. An act of self-defense might be 1 shot, but certainly not 3. And certainly not sticking his hand inside the window to shoot her directly in the head. And so you have these 2 competing stories. One in which there is a reality we can all see. And then there is the propaganda from the White House, which, for lack of a better word, is just plain bullshit. I'll give you one more example. The White House recently released on its website a complete retelling of what happened on January 6, 2021. Those of us who were around that day, who watched the news, or were following on live streams what was taking place, know precisely what happened. Donald Trump had called his supporters to Washington. There were tens of thousands of them outside of the White House at a rally. And he told them that they needed to march down to the Capitol and hold their elected officials accountable. And they had better, quote, fight like hell or you won't have a country anymore. And what did they do? Thousands of them did march down the Capitol. You could see them scaling the walls of the Capitol. You see all the video footage of them breaking into the Capitol, assaulting police officers. Some of them died. And you see all the other footage that was assembled later during the impeachment, where you could see different members of Congress and the Senate actually running and hiding, trying to get away from the people who were trying to kill them. You can't whitewash that. You can't gaslight Americans to not believe in what they've actually seen with their own eyes and ears. And yet you have millions of Americans who will believe what the White House has now put out as their official take on what happened on January 6, 2021. So how is this a civil war? Well, civil wars are typically fights over legitimacy. Who gets to tell the story and who gets to establish the values? In the 1860s, it was, do we allow for slavery? Does that fit our values? And who dictates whether or not it has to be in every single state or not in every single state? Right? So that was the underlying underpinning reasons for the first Civil War, right? It was about the values of slavery, the values of states' rights to determine whether or not they were slave states, and the federal government essentially telling the slave states they had to stop that practice. So let's fast forward now. We're 160 years later, and what is this Civil War? This Civil War is the legitimacy of whose story is correct. Is it what you actually have video footage of and can believe with your own eyes? Or do you believe the propaganda and lies told by this administration? One of the litmus tests that Republicans give over and over and over again is, was the 2020 election stolen? And they always say what the propagandists want them to believe, and that is that the 2020 election was stolen. but I know reality. I know how our Constitution works. And I also, as a mayor, know what elections look like. I know all of the controls and all of the audits and all of the everything that happens around elections, to know that elections are incredibly closely scrutinized and effectively run across this country. We have free and fair elections. So in 2016, Donald Trump won the election. He didn't win the popular vote, but our Constitution has an electoral college system, and he won the electoral college. In 2020, he lost the election. And in 2024, he not only won the election in the electoral college, but also even won the popular vote. I believe in reality. And yet you have so many people in office that will say the 2020 election was stolen because they know that in order to be a part of that cult, they have to say those words. And that's where the heart of this civil war really is. Families that are completely ripped apart. I have loved ones I can't talk to because in their minds, I am part of the problem. I'm part of the devil, demon-spawned Democrats who are the reason this country is going to hell. And I look at them and I just can't believe that people that I care about, who are intelligent and educated people, or at least I thought, can't believe in reality, right? That they actually believe the propaganda. And that's the civil war moment that we're in right now.